Welcome. Greetings of peace and love. This is Miracles with a Twist, where we look at A Course in Miracles from an interfaith, intercultural, and multifaceted perspective. I'm Lori Cardona, and I'm here with Dr. Karen Byron. Dr. Karen, you are back by popular demand. We had a great demand for part two. We did part one on holistic health and the Course in Miracles perspective. Dr. Karen is a chiropractor in practice in Gainesville, Florida, Central Florida. She also practices massage and acupuncture. And at the end of our previous broadcast conversation, you mentioned, hey, let's talk about pranayama. Is that how we say it?
Yes.
Well, welcome. Tell us a little bit about what we're going to be speaking of today.
Okay. Well, prana is that life source, and pranayama. So prana is your breath, and of course, breath is our life source. You're not living if you're not breathing,
Right.
And it's an autonomic. You don't have to think about it. Your body's going to do it, right? If you're not breathing, they put you on life support. So, being that it's an autonomic function, that you're doing it, whether you're consciously aware of it or not, when you put a little focus into your breath, the powers of that energy just expand into amazing, balancing, restorative powers within you that allow grounding and mind expansion and relaxation and mental control and just all kinds of things that a lot of times our outside world influences us into that chaos and just restricted and to let go is wonderfully achieved with a little breath meditation or pranayama. Now, these things help for purification, mental focus, and healing, right? So pranayama can be seen as a meditation, but it can also be seen as an exercise. Why do we exercise? We exercise to tonify our muscles, to get stronger, to get more endurance, to just build our body's own innate source, like we talked about before, that innate source of perfection. So when we're able to tonify our muscles, they work better, and it just helps our body function at a higher level. So our muscles of respiration, a lot of times people say, take a deep breath, and people raise up their shoulders. Nope, these are accessory muscles. The muscles of respiration are the little muscles between your ribs, the intercostals, that help the ribs to expand, and the diaphragm, which is underneath the rib cage. And when you breathe in, it creates a vacuum for the lungs that just fills it in. So the benefits of tonifying our muscles of respiration, are just, they're numerous. Now, today, I'd like to talk about, so all the benefits of breathing. And I'd like to talk about several simple, powerful breathing techniques, pranayamas, that just help us to tonify, rectify, relax, and ground ourselves.
Great. I'm looking forward to that. One of the things you said in your introduction just now was about how those things out there tend to affect us in here, body, mind, and spirit. And so many times in mystic studies, spiritual studies, we talk about body, mind, and spirit, but it's almost as if we forget the body. And that's why I'm so pleased to have you with us to continue with our previous conversation, because we know that ultimately we're not a body, right? We hear that in A Course in Miracles over and over again. I am not a body, and yet I am in this body. You used the example last time we spoke about how we're not a car, but we take care of the car. And so I'm not a body, but during this time and space that I'm on this planet, I am responsible and in charge of what goes on in my body. But also there are things that are affecting my mind, my amygdala, that pesky amygdala that gets triggered. And there's a line in A Course in Miracles somewhere that says, if you're feeling anxious, if you're depressed, if you're upset, you must have chosen wrongly. And I'm using air quotes because it's not a judgment that, oh, you're wrong because you're feeling poorly. It's that we're focused on that external thing and we're not moving into the internal path of the purification that you're speaking of, that's going to help us to calm down, that's going to help our mind, our body, and ultimately our spirit, so that we can get back into focus and into balance. And so, however you want to proceed with this, there's five, I believe you said, that you wanted to teach us, and
Yeah.
please go forward, and maybe you can do a little demonstration.
Excellent. Yes, I'd like to talk about these techniques and then a short demonstration. At the end of each one, we'll do like 3 breaths of each one, just to give you a feel for it. Now, when we thinking about how you're talking about the outside situations and how it affects us inside, once again, taking us back to what we were talking about before, how life is a lesson and life lessons. And when we realize that everything that we encounter is just another step to take us into a steadier, stronger, higher sense of self, it enables us to grab onto these tools like pranayama to regain our stature and our focus. So the first breath I'd like to talk about, you can imagine it like an ocean breath. The Sanskrit term is ujjayi, and that kind of sounds like the waves, ujjayi, as the waves roll in and roll out. Think about your breath rolling in and rolling out. So the wonderful part about this breath is that it's very tangible. It's very palpable. You feel this breath. With this breath, we pull our tongue kind of back into our throat, kind of closing off our throat a little bit. And in that way, when we breathe in through our nose and out through our nose, you physically feel the air as it passes through your nasals down into your trachea, down, back to the back of your throat and down your trachea. You feel your lungs expand. And it's just that whole connection to breath source. And like I say, there's a little bit of a sound to it. So you want to mimic the sound of an ocean as you're breathing, imagining that whole in and out flow. And here, it's nice just to center yourself with your feet grounded. You want to maybe have your palms face up on your lap. And as you pulling, like I say, closing off your throat with your tongue and feeling that energy as you come in, you'll feel that sound begin in your nose and connect to your throat and come down. And then as you exhale, you'll feel it coming from the base of your throat and passing out through. And it's just a very tangible breath. Now, so the easiest way, like I mentioned, is to kind of it's the ujjayi breath. Think of the ocean. Think about the groundedness. Think about, and oftentimes you want to slow your breath down because we breathe rather quickly, just autonomically. We just tend to do that. So here we're going to slow down so you can put a count into your breath where you have a count of 4 for the inhalation and a count of 5 to the exhalation. Or if you prefer mantras, you could do a mantra for, one side and a mantra for the other side in your head, obviously, but just to give yourself a rhythm. And then gradually, as this becomes more of a pattern for you, it'll just become an automatic, okay, ocean breath, slowly letting that wave come in and that wave go out. So resting here, we relax our shoulders, bracing ourselves, allowing ourselves to rest on our sit bones and our spine to rise up. What I love about breath is that it really engages the whole body and allowing the spine to expand with your inhalation and recede on the exhalation. We can feel the energies rise throughout our body with our palms face up, and you can connect your thumb to your index finger if you would like for that open-mindedness. And as you breathe in, pulling your tongue back to your throat, feel that air. And as you exhale, feel it as it comes out. Within your cranium, you're going to hear that he and a ha of the sounds of that connectedness. Feeling as if the waves are rolling in and rolling out. and feeling the waves carry away the mist that's been our mind, maybe clearing your mind and giving you a clarity, grounding yourself to where you are. The Ujjayi breath, the ocean breath. It's very commonly done with yoga practices. If you practice yoga, you might have heard this term before. So, Ujjayi, wonderful.
It just felt so soothing, but it also felt like something you could do anytime.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing about breath meditation is you don't need to go to the gym. You don't need to change clothes. You don't need to, you don't even need to hang up the phone. You could be on the phone with somebody, getting a message that's creating kind of a upsetness in you, and just tap into a breath, because that will bring about the calmness and restore you back to self.
Yes, yes. When you were saying earlier about what brings us to our breath, and it could be an upset. There's a line in A Course in Miracles that says, "All things are lessons God would have me learn." And sometimes we resist that because we think, oh, we want to blame that person for the upset, and we forget, oh, this is really for me. This is for my soul's alchemy, for me to learn who I am as a result of this. And during that upset, or as a result, we can actually see it as an opportunity to go deeper within, and during that opportunity to go within, to use this breath. And even just those 3 breaths, I felt calm, and I could see how you could do it anyway. You could do it standing online at the grocery store.
Exactly.
Who would know? And
Right. So this next one is the alternate nostril breathing. This one, you don't want to do sitting at the bus stop or in the line, because it involves a little facial things that might look a little different. So with alternate nostril breathing, it's Nadi Sadhana Pranayama. Nadi, nose, Sadhana, alternating breath. So what's wonderful about this one is that as you isolate the breath per nostril, it stimulates the different parts of the brain. Now, so alternate nostril breathing brings about a calmness. It helps you to kind of relate between it, or it brings about a just a balance, I'll say, not a calmness, because it balances the need for energy and the need for calmness. Energy is the left nostril. If you need to get up and get moving, breathe through your left side. If you need to calm down, breathe through your right. But when we do alternate nostril breathing, it just brings about a balance to our process. Now, so what you want to do here is you're going to be, you take your right hand, and you can close your nostrils with any way, but how I like to do it is kind of connect with my third eye. So I use my thumb and my ring finger. You can use your pinky too. It's just a matter of how big your fingers are and how much movement you feel there. But by placing your um, index finger on, or ring finger on your, or middle finger, I'm sorry, on your third eye, and using your thumb to close off your left nostril, your right nostril, and your ring finger to close off your left nostril. We're going to start here. I don't know if we talked about how it balances. Okay. Now here, it helps us to bring about an ease and peace of mind and tension. Closing off the nostril. Oh, I'm getting excited. So we're taking the thumb on the right nostril, placing the index finger or ring finger on your third eye. Breathe in through your left nostril. Allow your breath to be slow, deliberate, and allow it to fill.
we lost you. Uh-oh. Let's see if we can pause and get Dr. Karen back here. Okay, we resolved a glitch in technology, and if you don't mind, Dr. Karen, we're going to start again with the demonstration of the alternate nostril breathing.
Yes, Nadi Sadhana Pranayama, alternate nostril. So with the thumb on the right and your index finger or middle finger on your third eye, and you use your ring or pinky, whichever is easier for you, on your left. We're going to begin with the right nostril closed off And inhale through your left. Feel that great expansion. Close off the left nostril, open up the right. Exhale completely. Now inhale through your right nostril. Close it off. Release the left nostril. Exhale. Inhale through the left. Close it off. Open the right. Exhale. Breathing in through the right. Close it off. Open the left. Exhale. We can relax there and see how that feels, just that nice balance in your whole cranium just gets that nice balance feeling.
Yeah, and I can see why we wouldn't want to do that at the bus station or out in public. But whereas the first one we can, the second one we would do, I guess, in preparation for calming down. Perhaps if we have to, like dealing with our technical glitch or doing any kind of life altering, something that's altering our calm, our balance, and
Right.
how we get back into balance in the privacy of our own moments. And I have a funny story that I want to share with you. That this, as we were doing that, it reminded me. Not as we were doing the breath, but as we were doing the correction of the technical glitch, reminded me of Ram Dass, who we all know as a great spiritual leader. Most of us were following him years before we even understood the vast world of mysticism. And he was telling the story once of going into an event. And by now he was very popular and there were so many people there. And he said, I had one request. And my one request was that they provide a boom mic. And a boom mic is a mic that doesn't just stand on its own, but it has an extra arm so that he can sit on the ground, he could stand, and he can adjust the mic as he needed instead of that one central stand. And so when he got there, no mic. There was no mic. And,
Oh no.
And he said he was getting like really upset. I'm Ram Dass. I've asked for one thing. And he got into his ego, into his upset. And so he stepped aside from everyone and tried to balance himself. And perhaps he tried the alternate nostril breathing. But he said the thing that came to mind while he was trying to relax was his own teachings, his guru come to him and say, aha, look, laugh at yourself. Laugh at the universe. You know, this is a cosmic giggle. We don't have to take things so seriously. And you're providing us with these tools that take us out of that. We're taking things so seriously that are out there and coming back to in here so we can find balance and say, you know what, it's just a mic. It's just it's just a person who cut me off on the road. It's all so not important. And we find that the true importance is what we find within and who we are as a result of what's within us. So thank you for that second very helpful breath.
And Ram Dass, in his lectures, he would say about using breath to quiet the monkey mind. He would say, just focus on inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. So it could be as simple as that, or utilizing these tools.
Yes.
So the third, are we ready for the third method?
Yeah.
Okay, this is the Durga pranayama, and Durga is 3-part. So here, especially if you're new to diaphragmatic breathing, because it's different. We've really grown out of it as we grow up. We grow out of natural processes. So here you can place your one hand on your chest and one hand on your abdomen. And so 3 parts, meaning that we're going to separate the lobes. We're going to breathe in to the lower lobes first, and then the center, and then the upper. And it just is a nice way to really vitalize that organ. Because if you're just shallow breathing, you're just using the top part of your lungs, and you're really not facilitating the full action and the full power of that organ that's there too. And what is the purpose of our lungs? to bring in the prana, to bring in the air that supplies the oxygen and to supply our blood and to feed each and every morsel and cell within our body with life force energy of oxygen. So if we empower that organ even more, then we're going to just empower the whole system as a whole. As the dominoes fall, with the empowerment of the first, so goes the last. So here, it's nice just to kind of focus, and you want you want to just kind of center into self, feeling the energy right behind your right below your collarbones and right behind your sternum. And as you inhale, allow your abdomen to expand. So the first part of the breath goes to those lower lobes. Then as that fills, you'll feel it into the center. And then the third part is when it's finally up to the top. And you can feel the whole expansion of the chest. And as you exhale, we go backwards. So from the chest to the center, and then pressing in our abdomen to clear out the lower lobes. Let's do a few breaths like this. Allowing your abdomen to expand, coming into the center, up to the top. Just feel, and then you really feel the work of those intercostals. Exhaling from the top down. And you can feel the expansion of the diaphragm, of course, because our belly comes out, opening up that whole vacuum for that lungs into the center, up to the top. And as the rib cages expands, we're literally working those muscles, those intercostals between each and every rib. Durga pranayama is said to help reduce stress and help you feel grounded. It's especially good, like before you go to bed, you want to relax and just really settle into yourself. It's almost like congratulating yourself with a big internal hug for a great day, or a challenging day, or just an ordinary day. Because you know what? Either way, you made it through. And just, celebrating life through our pranayama, through prana, through that breath is a wonderful thing to do. And we can relax down. I know that's such a calming one. We like to just sit and soak it in.
It's very nurturing. It feels very soothing, self-soothing.
It's an inner body hug.
Yeah, and I like what you said at the end of the day. At the end of the day, when we're doing our little review of who was I today, and who will I be tomorrow, and did I rise higher? Did I forgive steadily, love readily? And we just give ourselves compassion and kindness, and
this
send that out to others as well. It felt very soothing.
Right. And you take these breaths until you feel that wonderful relaxation of your body, and then carry on.
Yes.
Now, this next one is gotta be my favorite. It is, let me see if I can pronounce this one. Kapalabhati, the skull shining breath, but I know it as breath of fire. This one is particularly used with Kundalini yoga and things like that. But I find it a great source to clear my mind, to, if I'm ever caught in a minute. And what's great about this one is that you can really not just, obviously we're working our diaphragm. Whenever we're doing pranayama, we're tonifying our diaphragm. But this one, you can really work into a whole spinal flow. Because of the motion. It's kind of it's a more of a quick breath, and it's through the nose. And what happens is with the shortness of breath, we breathe in and then exhale. So you breathe in once again, abdomen out with inhalation, abdomen in with exhalation, and that pushing in of the abdomen, really forcing that diaphragm, pushing out the air in the lungs, creates a rebound that just opens up. It's the rebound for the inhalation is that much more. So as shallow as this breath might feel in motion, it is very clarifying because of the work it's doing with the diaphragm. It clears stale air out of the lung, and really, I feel that by clearing the stale air out of our lungs, it kind of clears all the cobwebs and the stale thoughts out of our mind. So yes. And what like I was mentioning about being able to incorporate the motion of the spine, because of that quick action of the diaphragm pushing in on the exhalation, you can really, that rounds the back. So all of a sudden then, as you push forward to inhale, it's going to extend the back. So it goes into flexion and extension of the back. So you get into that wonderful rhythm that kind of rocks the spine. And with the whole motion combining the nervous system with the lungs and the motion of breath, it's just an all over wonderful thing. Now, as a sidebar, within Kundalini Yoga, we like to imagine this action of this pumping the spine with the breath to raise the Kundalini. So, and that's represented as a coiled serpent at the sacrum. So we can think of unwinding that snake as it rises up and brings our energies higher, bringing us up into clear mind and better thoughts and better actions. Okay, so with this one, once again, resting your hands on your lap. You can connect your thumbs to any finger. You can have your palms open, whichever you feel comfortable with. And we'll start with just slow breaths, and you can take it to a rhythm that feels comfortable for you. Everything is through the nose, and so we just breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. In and out. In and out. And you can do it as fast or as slow as is comfortable for you. But you will know, there's no doubt that you will feel this wonderful rhythm in the body and the breath, and just feel how it's tonifying the stomach, the abdomen muscles, as well as the diaphragm as you're putting that motion into the spine and the lungs, clearing them out. And it's not particularly forceful breath. Like if you're familiar with Wim Hof, I know they do forceful breath, but this is through the nose, and it's more of a forceful action. It's like you're pushing and pulling with the diaphragm that creates this this force-like breath.
This seems to be a common practice during certain yoga classes. But certainly not at the end. It's like it's in the beginning, maybe to get us geared up to use our bodies and the asanas, and then we have the relaxation at the end. But what you said as you entered into this breath was, I can really use this when I'm caught in a minute. Is that the expression you use? And that reminds me of one of the things that in Miracles with a Twist, that when we occasionally, as you know, because you've been with us for so long, I will occasionally change the language. And for almost 2 years in a row, we stopped using ego, because ego is used so much in the languaging of A Course in Miracles and the languaging of a lot of the mystics' path. And I started using instead subconscious messages. And so many times when we are caught in a minute, it's because we're tripped up by something in our subconscious that's given us a message that's not helpful to us. And this breath is so strong. It's such a strong use of our bodies, our breath, and the time that you can't be in that caught minute anymore. It really just pulls you out.
Mm-hmm. That is so true. It's a great, like I say, it's my go-to for clearing my mind and energies, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, moving on.
Yes, please.
So our next one, this is another one that you might not want to do at the bus stop, but it's the Simhasana, and it's the lion's breath. So this one is just wonderful when you've like had enough. You are just ready to just get it off your consciousness, get it off your chest, just release yourself. But so it involves a nice deep breath in through the nose. But when we exhale through our mouths, sticking our tongues out and even exclaiming, aha. So it's both a vocal and an open mouth exhalation, sticking your tongue out. So you're really releasing all these negative things that are kind of getting to you. It is meant to blow off, it's used to blow off steam, release tension, and alleviate stress. So here we breathe in through our nose. Obviously Lori and I are on a screen, but we just have to be mindful that it is not about how we look, it's all about how we feel. So here we breathe in nice and deep, and as we exhale, we open our mouths and press out our tongue and say ah. And a few breaths like that. Just gives us it lets your lungs inhale completely to fill it in, and then exhale completely with the ha sound, just to imagine that you're fogging up the mirror of your mind, so then you can clear it off and be done with it. Come to a clear image.
Hey, I was listening to a interview with a couple that were both singers. And someone said, oh, how do you attribute the success of your relationship? And they said, oh, when we're upset with each other, we get into a rap battle. So instead of arguing, they go into like this kind of fun rap with each other. And they said they end up laughing. And I just had that thought that, maybe you can do with this lion's breath with someone if you're caught in a minute together, and you're kind of sticking your tongue out at each other, but you're also
Right.
keeping each other into more balance. So, and that was called what? Lion's breath?
Lion's breath.
That's number 5?
Lion's breath, yes.
That's number 5 under the category, but I think you had a bonus.
I do have a bonus one that's kind of fun.
Okay.
Kind of fun, because when we're outside and looking at the flowers, and all of a sudden what do we hear? We hear a buzzing. There's no, you all of a sudden you're going to just tune into that buzzing. You want to find that bee. But where is that bee? And so this we call the humming bee breath. And what is so pleasant about this one is it's another one that helps you just kind of release from a moment, to clear your mind and reset, and definitely it kind of just brings you to a happier place, because it's pleasant. We like to listen to bees. So with this one, you take your fingers and just put them in your ears. As you breathe in, now you're going to hum as you exhale. And you can see how that clearly gives you your own minute, where everything else is cut off and you're in your own garden with your own little bee, and you're just going to be able to smile at the world and say, thank God. Or thank me for having the bee. Thank the bee.
And you can be your own bee. I love that. So that was actually 6. You gave us 5 that fell under the one category, and then a bonus. And I've always like to remind myself of my own tagline of being committed to rising higher. Pray harder, rise higher, love steadily, forgive steadily, love readily. And the idea is to bring ourselves back to that commitment, that willingness to be more focused on our spiritual life than on those things outside that are tripping us up. And you've given us great, wonderful tools, because sometimes maybe it's not even a mental or emotional upset. Sometimes it's the body. The body's not working that well. I'm not feeling well. Something's hurting. And this breath, in addition to helping us balance in our minds, it also, in our emotions, it also helps us balance our bodies. So thank you so much for this series, and the reminder that we are not our bodies, but we sure do need them, and we need our bodies to be healthy.
Right. And if I could share one last quote from a great teacher, Thich Nhat Hanh, he would relate to the breath and just say about breathing, and you can interchange the inhalation or the exhalation, but breathing in love and breathing out peace. So if we're breathing in peace and breathing out love. And I think the more we empower ourselves with those energies, we can, as you say, rid your rise higher and all the rest.
Breaths, etc. And be the bee. Buzz around with love in our hearts and compassion and kindness. And I want to thank you for being with us again. We are recording on May 8th. And just an FYI for anyone who happens to be listening right now or within the next few days, LMC Interfaith Ministry will be hosting our next full moon gathering in Lauderdale by the Sea on Monday, May 12th, just a few days from now. But if you're listening afterwards, that's okay too, because you're going to go to the comment section and find out how to connect with Dr. Karen and all that she has to say and all that she's taught us. And if you're in the Gainesville area, please be sure to visit ABC Wellness.
abcwellness.org. Go online.
ORG. And A stands for acupuncture, B stands for bodywork, C stands for chiropractic, and that's everything you do, but that's not all you do. So thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
See you again next time.
Until then.
Until then, God bless.